Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have told you this for many times, and that is if Russia is provoked or somehow Russia gets in a little scuffle with Poland, Poland will not survive. It will be erased. And that is because of the love and friendship between Poland and Russia. Historical friendship, if you know what I mean. Well, now you hear it from the horse's mouth, which is Dmitry Medvedev, the former president of the Russian Federation, who is kind of like straight lately being the past year. And he's telling the Poles that, Polish people, or the government, that if NATO will get involved actively in the war with Russia, Poland will cease to exist regardless of the outcome between the fight of NATO and Russia. All right, so let's go and see what this article has to say. So, it comes from Russia Today. It is from 14th of April 2023, and I'm quoting, "Stupid Polish Prime Minister naive on NATO," Medvedev says. The ex-Russian president lashed out over the politician's confidence in the US-led military bloc's superiority. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has claimed that Poland would cease to exist if a direct war were to occur between Russia and NATO, regardless of the outcome. That means we're gonna hit you first and you're gonna be done, regardless if NATO wins or we win. That's my translation, and I think there's no other translation than this. He was responding to remarks by Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, who expressed confidence that the Western alliance would win such a conflict. Well, that's very naive, and I agree with Medvedev on this one. Morawiecki, who is currently visiting the US, commented on the Ukrainian conflict in an interview with NBC News on Friday. Host Kristen Welker asked whether he was concerned that Ukrainian strikes outside its territory risk, and I'm quoting, a wider war, drawing Poland into the conflict. End quote. These guys are pushing scenarios for sensational. These guys are just really dangerous. They ask this, like, in this scenario, what will you do? And they expect someone to make a mistake or, say too much that he probably should not have said. The Prime Minister replied that he was not concerned. Really? Now, he's a Prime Minister, he's not concerned. As it would be a war between Russia and NATO, I'm quoting, and Russia would lose this war very quickly. What do you think? What do you think? Anyway, let's quote Mr. Prime Minister of Poland. They believe that fighting with Ukraine, they are fighting with the West and fighting with NATO. Whereas the fact of the matter is that we are only supporting a brutally invaded country. End quote, Morawiecki said. Medvedev, who serves as deputy chair of Russia's National Security Council, tweeted in response that he was not so certain about which side would win, and I'm quoting, "But considering Poland's role as a NATO outpost in Europe, this country is sure to disappear together with its stupid prime minister." End quote. The Russian official has previously warned against a possible escalation of Ukraine conflict, which Moscow perceives as a proxy war against it, but the US and its allies, by the US and its allies. If that were to happen, hostilities could go nuclear, Medvedev believes, and all sides would be catastrophically harmed. The former president has branded European leaders who underestimate this risk as incompetent. Morawiecki is one of the most outspoken critics of Russia and its involvement in Ukraine. He has claimed the country is similar to Nazi Germany in its goals and methods, and accused nations in the European Union that do not fully support Ukraine of appeasing Moscow. During his visit to the US, the Polish leader delivered a speech to the Atlantic Council, a pro-NATO think tank, in which he reiterated his case for investing in Ukraine. If Kiev loses, he claimed, the West's golden age may end. These guys are making it, they are making it, and this is the end of, this is the Armageddon, the final battle between the forces of evil, Russia in this case, and the forces of self-designated good, which is Poland and the Western countries. All right, so that's how they try to turn it, including the Ukrainians have the same role. And they started saying, if we fall, then the whole civilization falls. Now, that is a very, very narcissistic view of the world. If Ukraine doesn't exist tomorrow, the world will continue to go on and on. If Russia doesn't exist tomorrow, the same thing. If United States doesn't exist tomorrow, the same thing. If all these three countries don't exist tomorrow, the same thing. The world will not end if they just are not there anymore. I mean, this is a childish, and it works because they address this issue and they put it in such a way that the tards around, they don't see through it. They're all either ignorant, or ignorant meaning they don't know, maybe and possibly they are below 86 IQ, or maybe they don't even care. They don't even care. All three in the same time. I don't know. In this case, I just wanted to point out that Russia will eradicate Poland and the Baltic states. And you know why? The first thing, not because of the history necessarily, but if you look at this situation in Ukraine between the forces of good and the forces of evil, to use this so we understand what we're talking about, the Poles and the Baltic states were very, very loud, were the loudest. They didn't have to. Why they didn't have to? Because the Czech Republic didn't do it, Slovakia didn't do it, Hungary didn't do it, Romania didn't do it, even Moldova didn't do it, or Bulgaria didn't do it. These are all countries that have the same proximity with Russia or Ukraine. And they kept their mouth shut, or they were a little bit more balanced. I'm surprised with Romania's really, really, really tight lips. Very much surprised. But I think Romanians are doing now instead of talking. But they are, under foreign occupation, that's my assessment, under the umbrella of NATO troops being on the country. And Romania is lost. It's just another really, really vassal state that should be studied. Hey, when you go to children in, third grade and you explain what a vassal state, they should study a Romanian relationship with NATO. And that would be the perfect example. All right, the president was supported by those guys over there. That's their boy. The military is infiltrated by the other guys. The same with intelligence services. The mass media is weasels and belong to the mass media over there. People are as they are by definition. I don't have to go into that. And the military is decimated as it is. So there you have it. And they want to be in Europe and part of the good world and the forces of good. Now they are. Good for you. You eat better, you get fatter, you don't know exactly what you eat, but anyway, you're safe because the evil are waiting over there, the evil country, to get you. And it works for the reasons I mentioned. So anyway, Poland they know. I mean, the Prime Minister of Poland is not an idiot. I mean, he called him stupid, but he knows exactly. But what is he supposed to say? Is he supposed to say, yeah, man, if Russia sends a few missiles, there's no way for us to intercept them, and we're going to just get it like a female dog? Is that what he's supposed to say? No. I mean, unless he's really an idiot and he really believes that they will survive somehow, he has to say it. You have to say certain things like that. I think, and this is the way to give the Polish Prime Minister a little bit of an escape route. Now, if you say no, then I will take the other one. He's an idiot then. because you can't possibly believe that you can beat Russia. Those guys have nuclear weapons. They have submarines with nuclear weapons on that you don't even fucking know where they're at. So you know what I mean? It's unbelievable, this ignorance. But anyway, I think he knows exactly what the situation is. It's just that he plays like that because he has to. As I said, what is he going to say? Anyway, he knows what he's supposed to say, and he works for his people. But I think that if he steps on the wrong hole or on the wrong spot, he endangers or he gets maybe I don't want to even think about it, but the annihilation of his people. If those guys get crazy and they say, okay, that's it, now you want Armageddon, it's going to be Armageddon. Polish people will not be, unless the ones that are in United States, Canada, and Australia and other countries on this planet. That's it. I hope the people who have this potential keep their cool head there. You know what I mean? And remember, if Putin would be, as these guys say that he is, he would have annihilated a few countries already or end all this planet. You know what I mean? But anyway, he still fights conventional war in Ukraine and has losses when he can end up the whole thing using Harry Truman's example. Save the lives of his boys, and shorten the war. Remember that? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.